Hello, epic viewers from the multiverse. Prepare to indulge in experiencing sheer bliss, because today another riveting, captivating, stellar, enthralling, engrossing video is about to be brought to fruition. What does this video entail, you may ask? Well, today I'm here to contend why you should unbox all of your action figures. Of course, when you unbox your figurines, their extrinsic values plunge and plummet. Nonetheless, you should still unbox them. Of course, this topic is controversial, is subjective. You could determine whether or not your action figures should be liberated, or whether or not they should be confined to the parameters of the cardboard packagings. You can determine that based on your own volition. Do not allow me to dissuade you or persuade you into doing anything. Be your own independent, sovereign individual. Do not be influenced, persuaded, or dissuaded by others. Implement decisions based on your own volition. You're an autonomous being, after all. So, nonetheless, let's delve into this topic. Now, why do I think these action figures should be liberated? Why do I believe they should be set free? Why do I think that the twist tie should be unraveled? Why do I think that their packaging should be consigned to the trash? Well, first off, if you open your action figures, you could flaunt more of them on your shelves. They coincide eminently well with a prodigious action figure collection. If they're relegated to their cardboard boxes, then you're not going to be able to store as many in your room because they take up too much space width-wise, length-wise, and square footage-wise. They're just too bulky in their boxes. But if you discard all that packaging, if it's consigned to the trash, then you just have a measly 5 to 6 inch figure, or maybe of the 3.75 inch Hasbro figurine. So it's more efficient space-wise. If you open your action figures, you don't want your room to be inundated with clutter. Even if you have a spacious room, I recommend and advocate opening your action figures every opportunity you can seize. That sounded uncanny and awkward and abysmal and abnormal, but seize every opportunity to open your action figures so that your room is not saturated with packaging that harbors mold and that encumbers your movements and that impedes your movements. So that's the first reason. Let's move on. What's the second reason? The second reason is that you can't place them into dynamic poses if they're relegated to their default innate manufacturer packagings. Alrighty, so if I didn't open this figurine, I couldn't ascend his arms, I couldn't descend his arms, I couldn't rotate his head, I couldn't swivel his wrists, I couldn't articulate any of the other joints. A third reason is that you want to be able to equip all of your action figures' corresponding accessories. Of course, you can't do that if they're not opened, but if they're open, then you can relish their accessories, they can wield their corresponding accessories, and you can just view and embellish augmented version of your figurines. Now, why do I say this? Because I truly believe that they have more intrinsic value and they're embellished and refined and augmented when their accessories are equipped. When they're in their default innate manufacturer's packaging. Is it manufacturer or manufacturer's packaging? I guess you could say manufacturer's packaging. Sorry about the blunder earlier. I hopefully have rectified it. When they're in their innate default manufacturer's packaging, they're just not as epic, they're not as exquisite, they're not as novel, they're not as divine. But when you remove all the packaging, when you remove all the clutter, you can truly hone in on the action figures. You can truly take a gander at their aesthetics and at their shadings and at their hues and at their textures. You can see them up close. Literally, listen an inch away. My eyeballs listen an inch away from this action figure's wardrobe, and you can't do that if they're confined to the parameters of their packaging or their packaging. So remove them from their plastic trays, remove them from their plastic shelves, liberate them, unravel all the twist ties, relish your action figure collection. So to give you a synopsis about my contentions, I would like to briefly elucidate why you should unbox the action figures. First off, it's more efficient space-wise if you unbox them. Obviously, you should unequivocally know that. Second off, you could equip all their accessories. Third off, you can pose them into more dynamic poses. And the fourth reason is that you could reap more enjoyment out of your action figures, because when they're in the confines of their packagings, your eyes are not gazing or honing in on the action figures' details. They're looking elsewhere because you have scenery that the packaging is adorned with. You also have the cardboard back, you have the plastic shell. I mean, you have other things that distract you and that divert your attention, but when they're open though, you could just solely focus on the action figure as a totality. I mean, you can't do this, you can't focus on him this up close when he's imprisoned in his packaging. So liberate your figurines, set them free, utilize your figurines. They have a pragmatic use. They could elicit jubilance, joy, and blissfulness in your life. Just relish your products. Don't desist from unboxing your action figures just because you have trepidation that they may become ravaged as a result of being exposed to the elements. I mean, some people believe that energy can never be created nor destroyed, so in essence, maybe these action figures change form when they begin to diminish and atrophy and disintegrate. But even if they are preordained to disintegrate post being opened, you should still enjoy them. I mean, you're supposed to optimize your happiness. I know it's an old cliche that you're supposed to be optimistic and maximize your enjoyment out of life and seek happiness and relish every moment. But I just have a more positive aspect of life, and I truly am a more content person. I'm truly more buoyant and more jubilant and more happy and more charismatic when my action figures are opened. Now, why do I say more charismatic? Because when my action figures are opened, I could express myself more. When they're closed, I just feel as though I'm being closed-minded, if that makes any sense. So, opening the action figures allows me to augment my lifestyle and enhance my lifestyle. So perhaps I don't contribute to my character, but nonetheless they're still meritorious when they're opened. Even if it decreases their second-hand market values, it doesn't really matter. You're supposed to relish your life and not defer gratification. Utilize your products. They were designed to be utilized. They weren't designed to remain concealed or sealed or imprisoned within their packagings. That's why they can articulate. They're meant to be utilized and articulated and not indefinitely pre-posed. So that's everything I want to do, convey and notify you of. These are stupendous, novel, exquisite, intricate, novel figurines. I love how they're robust. I love how they're state-of-the-art in third and facets. Sure, they're slack in articulation-wise, these Family Guy, Mezco figurines, but they're still fascinating, to say the least. So I hope that you deem this video to be enthralling and insightful. I implore you, I beseech you, and I earnestly beg you to consider opening your action figures, but don't be persuaded or dissuaded by me. Implement decisions based on your own volition. It's up to you whether or not you want to relish your collection to the fullest. So I hope that you found this video to be intriguing and insightful. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Goodbye.